Hello. Today we're going to talk about 2.4, which is all about linear equations. There are three different forms you need to know. Um, Basically, you always need to read your directions and know which form I'm asking for. Okay? So, slope-intercept form we've already talked about. So that's y equals mx plus b. Standard form, okay? That's, I don't know if you guys remember this, ax plus by equals c. Okay, a, b, and c are just coefficients, constants. They're not variables like x and y. Okay, point slope form is similar to the idea with slope intercept form, where you needed, like slope intercept form, you needed the slope m and the intercept b to get my equation. Point slope form, you need a point and a slope. So you start with the difference in y's equals the slope times the difference in x's. Okay, where x1 and y1 come from the point you get. Okay, so this is x1, y1. All right, so let's start with number one. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, well, we've got a point and a slope, so why not start with point-slope form, where this represents x1 and this represents y1. So we do y minus the y they give me equals the slope times x minus the x they give me. Okay, that's the equation in point-slope form, but I really wanted slope-intercept form, so I need to get it y equals. So I should probably get rid of those parentheses. And then move that one over. Add one. There we go. So that is our answer. Now that's not the only way to do it. Okay, I had a student who straight up refused to use point slope form. Okay, she only liked using slope intercept form. So she represented this as her x and her y and her m. So she would have 1 equals negative 1 times 2 plus b. Notice what I did. I plugged in x and y for the x and y here, the negative 1 slope into here, and now I just solve for b. So I get 1 equals negative 2 plus b, so 3 equals b. So then I get my slope, my y-intercept, so y equals negative 1 times x plus 3. And look, that's the same thing I had. So what you're going to realize here is that when you solve a problem, it might be different than your friends. It might be different than how I did it. So pay attention to your answer. That's what you want to look at. Okay, so if you're doing something wrong, we can look at those steps, but you got to tell me how you started it. Okay, because I can approach these from a whole bunch of different ways, and some of you may even found a different way than what that was. Okay, so let's keep it going. So number 2, well, look at what I have. I have 0, 6. Hopefully bells went off and you realized, oh, that's a y-intercept. X is 0. And there's my slope. So this is literally negative 3/2 x plus 6. Okay? If you didn't realize that, you could still plug it into one of these equations and then rearrange it to y equals. You will still get this as your answer. Okay? So I encourage you to pause the screen, try these 4 problems, and see if they're the same as my answer. And then you can rewind it and watch me do the problems. Okay? well, I guess not really rewind it. I guess fast forward it to the answer, and then you can backtrack if you want. I don't know. Anyway, pause the screen. Okay, so for number 3, I'm going to notice that I have a point and a slope. So I'm going to just straight up plug it into point slope form. Y minus negative 6 equals 0 times x minus negative 5. So this is just y plus 6, and 0 times anything is just 0. So then I get y equals negative 6. All right, which is nice. And if hopefully we remembered that if our slope is 0, all right, that's a horizontal line, and horizontal lines are y equals. Okay, let's see. Then the next one, number 4. We have the slope, and they straight up give you the y-intercept. So you have y equals 1 times x minus 3, or y equals x minus 3. Either way, same thing. Oh, my 3 looks awful. Okay, take a little more time. So that's this one. Now let's do number 5. Well, we got 2 points. We need the slope. So we do the change in y over the change in x. Rise over run. So 0 minus 1 over 0 minus negative 3. Negative 1 over 3. So now we've got a slope and a point. So plug it into point slope. Y minus 0 equals negative 1/3 x minus 0. That was so much easier than plugging in that one. All right, pick the one that has the nicer numbers. So you get y equals negative 1/3 x. Okay. Number 6. Well, we need a point. We need a slope. So we do the change in y over change in x. Negative 5 minus negative 4 over 4 minus 1. So that's just negative 5 plus 4, and we get negative 1 over 3. So let's do this one a little different. I'm going to plug this one into my y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to make this my x and this my y. So we have negative 5. Again, I'm going to show my steps like I said I would. Y equals mx plus b. So we get negative 5 equals negative 1/3 times 4 plus b. So we get negative 5 equals negative 4/3 plus b. So b, we just need to take negative 5 and add 4/3. Remember your fractions. Negative 15 over 3 plus 4/3, negative 11/3. So that's my b. That's my slope. Y equals negative 1/3 x minus 11/3. Okay? If you want me to do that in class, feel free to come and ask me. Okay? All right, number 7. So write an equation in point slope form. So we've got our point. Let's find our slope. Negative 2 minus negative 3 over 3 minus 2. So this is just, let's see, 1 over 1. 1. Plug it into point slope form. I'm just going to pick this one. So we get y minus negative 2 equals 1 times x minus 3. We can simplify this and say y plus 2 equals x minus 3, because that 1 doesn't really need to be there. If you leave it, I won't care about the 1. But these 2 negatives, yeah, you need to fix those. Okay? You could have also written it with this point. I would have accepted y minus negative 3 equals 1 times x minus 2. So if you had given y plus 3 equals x minus 2, I would have also accepted that. All right, So just so you know, I don't care which one, but I'm just going to keep picking the first one. So let's try 8 and 9, because these, I think something weird might happen. All right, so our slope for number 8, let me change colors. Let me do blue. So we get, our slope is -2 minus -2 over 3 minus 5. So that just gets me 0 over -2. So what's 0 divided by -2? Pull out our calculator and it just tells us 0. Yeah, I know how some of you guys work. All right, so now we know our slope is 0. So let's put our equation in point slope form. Y minus -2 equals 0 times x minus 3. Well, we simplify it, we get y plus 2. That 0 doesn't need to be there. That stuff doesn't need to be there. So why write it? Why write it? Ooh, hard to say. So let's simplify it and just write y equals -2. That's a special case, right? That's a horizontal line with a slope of 0. Also notice the two y's are the same. Okay, those are all key things to help you find this faster. Okay, again, we want to know all the horizontal stuff goes here, right? All that stuff is related. So let's look at number 9, because I feel like that might be related. Okay, so what if we have the alternative? So here our slope is 6 minus -3 over -1 minus -1. So here we end up with 9 over 0. Well, we do that on our calculator, we get an error, right? So that, we don't write error. That's not how we do this, okay? We would write undefined. Because think about what this is talking about. It's a slope. If a slope doesn't make sense, it's undefined. Okay? So, undefined slope, that means it's vertical. How does that equation look again? I don't know. Let's plug it in. We get y minus 6 equals our undefined slope. Well, how do we do that? Okay. X minus -1. What does that mean? Undefined. That's not a thing. So, we can't use this equation. Well, then what equation do I do? Oh, hopefully a bell's going off and it's x equals. Okay, x equals what? The x is the same here, -1. When the x's are the same, that's your equation. When the y's are the same, that's your equation. Okay, all these things are related to these special graphs, your horizontal and your vertical line. Okay, so some tricks to help you remember it. Let me change it. Let's just do this one in black. So let's see, the acronym HOI and VUX. Yep, that's what I said. So here you have a horizontal line with a 0 slope. Okay, not an O slope, that's a 0. Okay, and it's a y equals a number is your equation. Then VUX is your vertical line with your undefined slope, and x equals a number is your equation. Sorry. So here you want to remember HOI, VUX. That is hard to read. I'm going to use a highlighter. HOI, VUX. Well, I wanted those to look separate. There we go. All right, so let's talk about parallel and perpendicular now. All right, hopefully you remember. All right, parallel lines are going to have the same slope. And perpendicular lines are going to have the opposite reciprocal. What I tell kids is if you ever forget, you can always just draw it, okay? If you want slope, or if you want parallel lines, okay, hopefully you know that's when the lines don't touch each other. Okay, so if I want to draw another line away from it, well, for it to never touch, I need to actually follow that same rise over run pattern. Okay, for perpendicular, you graph something like, let me do something different. Let me do 2. So a slope of 2. All right, here you have a positive slope. Now if I want a perpendicular line, hopefully you remember that perpendicular means you form a right angle. So I want it to go this way, so I know it needs to be negative. Okay, that's what opposite means. All right, think of the negative and positive. Okay, well, I want a negative slope, so if I do a negative slope of 2, right, where I go up to right, instead of right 1, now I'm going left 1. Well, that was a terribly curvy line. All right, here, not much better, but it's still, I can see I'm not going to get that right angle, right? So I can't just have opposite. Okay, that's what a lot of kids do. Don't forget, you have to do the reciprocal, because I want it more of like this. And as you can see, even when I guess it, that's down 1 over 2. Up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2. So even when I did a rough guess of a 90 degree, I was still able to find the negative reciprocal slope. Okay? All right, so let's write the equation of the line through each point. So knowing our issues with perpendicular and parallel. So, not issues, knowing the facts. So we want it to go through this point and it's parallel. Well, if I'm parallel to this line, well, this slope is 3, and parallel means the same. So if I want a parallel slope, my slope is now 3 with this point. So why not plug it into point slope or slope intercept, however you want to solve it. So let's see, y minus 9 equals 3 x minus 2. I do want it in slope intercept form, so let me just maneuver this around. Okay, then we get y equals 3x plus 3. There's our answer. So, again, let me show you with number 11. It's the perpendicular to this equation. Ooh, this was badly typed. That's 2/5 times x. So we want to be perpendicular to this graph. Well, then all I care about is the slope. The slope of that is 2/5. And if I'm wanting the perpendicular, then I want the opposite reciprocal. So that's positive, make it negative. 2 over 5, 5 over 2. Point, slope, plug it into point slope. Y minus 1 equals negative 5 over 2, x minus 3. We get y minus 1, let's see, plus 15 halves. Then you can multiply by 2 and then move things around and then get rid of the number in front of y, but I'm just going to go ahead and add 1. So remember, if we're going to add 1, that's the same thing as adding 2 over 2. So we get negative 5 over 2x plus 17 over 2. There's our answer. All right, let's see, next one. All right, these are kind of fun, I think, because it's like a crazy looking puzzle. Okay, so we have 2 points. It's k comma something and 3 comma 2. And we know the slope is 3. So we know what the slope is. But remember, we also have the points. So can't we just find the change in y over the change in x? Hopefully you answered yes. So we're going to take this value, this y value, k plus 1, and subtract that y. Then we're going to take the x value here, so k, and subtract that value. So now the slope is k minus 1 over k minus 3. But wait, the slope is also 3. So what am I writing? K minus 1 over k minus 3 has to equal 3. Multiply by the k minus 3. Work it out. Let's see, I'm going to move that k over. I'm going to add that 9. Ooh, not like that though. Add the 9 and I get 8. So k must be 4. Find the value of k so that the line through the given points, the line through the given points has slope of that. There we go. All right, let's do another one. So here I have my x and a y. I have another x and another y. So do my change of y over change in x. So 3 plus 2k minus this y. So I'm going to put it in parentheses because I want to subtract all of it, not just the 1. On the bottom, I want to do this x minus this x. So k plus 1 minus all of k minus 1. That looks awful. Let's simplify it. 3 plus 2k minus 1 plus k. Then I have k plus 1 minus k plus 1. So I get, what is that? 3k plus 2 over the k's cancel, and 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay? Do not, I repeat, do not do that. That does not equal 3k. I get kids do that all the time. There's a sign in my room, do not do this at all. Okay? Think about it. 3 plus 2 over 2 does not equal 3. It does equal 5 over 2. Okay? So don't cancel when you have adding and subtracting. Adding and subtracting throws all those shortcuts out the window. Okay? So I'm going to erase that now. Sorry, bear with me. Okay. Okay, so now here's my slope, but my slope also equals k. So 3k plus 2 over 2 equals k. 3k plus 2 equals 2k. 2 equals negative k. I moved the 3k. And then, so negative 2 must equal k. All right? That's it for today. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, you can just ask me in class. All right? Till then.